Hey guys, welcome back. In today's video, we are talking about how AMC are beating shorts, the shorts FUD, the share buybacks, and many more in this video. Firstly, we're taking a look at this. So this is an article on Motley Fool where they talk about AMC, and essentially it's where they dissuade the retailers from investing in AMC. Now, you can see what he says in here. Furthermore, my own experiences and trends with how I view content do not make me a believer in the box office. I find streaming at home to be far more convenient. I've learned to simply wait a few months to see most new movies that appear in theaters. So essentially what he's saying is that going to the theaters is a waste of time, and therefore you are wasting your money by investing in theater stocks, aka AMC in this example. Now, of course, what he's using is complete nonsense because he is completely ignoring the fact that whilst he personally believes that for him it is a better opportunity cost to stay at home and watch it when it can stream, he's completely ignoring the fact that the box office is actually going up. And what that would mean is that the majority of the public does not agree with his opinion. And we've also seen recently how actually people are shifting from streaming into watching at theater, and more people are actually wanting to experience to be watching it at first hand, when it just comes out, with whether it's their friends or family, or the fact that they are able to watch it at a more premium place because it's bigger screens, because it's better accessibilities, and much more. And so you can see how they are always trying to find the smallest things possible and enlarge it to make it look like it's extremely bad for AMC. Furthermore, when you see the fact that, again, Dolby strikes deal with AMC to hugely increase number of Dolby Cinema theaters. So they're saying that, AMC or that the box office is not doing well, or that people aren't willing to go into to watch the movies, yet we're seeing people increasingly create more and more cinemas. We're seeing how, firstly, they're restructuring the existing cinemas. Secondly, we're seeing more companies to open up even more new cinemas, whether that be AMC or others. It's all a showcase of the box office is doing well, and they know that people will attend. So when you see these articles saying that people are not going to be attending movies, for the box office is never going to recover, we should actually take a look at what the real data is showing. Firstly, attendance is going up, hence why we're seeing the supply of theaters also going up along with it. They're creating more cinemas because they understand more and more people are going to watch movies. Secondly, is the box office doing well? Again, this is for you to take a look, and you will find that the box office is doing well. It's improving and it's getting bigger and bigger. And so this whole talk of no one going to watch the movies or that the box office is never going to increase is clearly false. Anyone spending even a minute of their time to research this will find this out. Furthermore, again, if you want to understand the extent of where this is essentially adding 40 new Dolby Cinema auditoriums in the US by 2027. And so this is just a showcase of how well they're doing, how they're willing to invest in more, and how we're going to profit from this as well. And so I don't think there's any more I need to say in terms of understanding the fact that if companies are willing to create more cinemas, it's because of the fact that there are people going to cinemas and watching these movies. And then you're looking at what they're trying to do outside of the news aspect. And you can see down 10% on no news, stock market runs on supply and demand, right? GME announcements directly affect the world's largest movie theater, AMC, somehow, where we're seeing AMC going down recently. Now, once again, when you take a look at AMC, has there been any news that is negative for AMC or in general the box office recently? Well, we have new movies coming out that are doing extremely well. We have AMC again having this partnership deal that I've just talked about. And so no, there hasn't been any bad news. There hasn't been anything that actually pushes AMC down. Yet, because of what happened with GME. Now, this isn't to say something bad happened with GME, but GME showed their earnings. They then said that they were going to do a share offering, which obviously we saw a drop in price. And yet that has an effect on AMC. How is that the case? Well, once again, if they said that the short sellers are both shorting or not shorting both AMC and GME. Well, clearly that's not the case, because if the fact that GME goes down and AMC goes down with it and vice versa, then it means they have a mutual interest. It means they are mutually shorting both the stocks, and this is just a showcase of it. Another thing is another FUD that they're trying to do, and now this might be something that I think is extremely stupid. Again, just take a look at this article, or rather this post. You don't have to do anything about it, but it's just about understanding that when you consume information, make sure you take the time to actually understand and digest what is happening, and make sure you do your own due diligence. That is the strongest things I always advise, because when you take a look at this post, if you didn't properly read it, then you may have fell for it. Or again, this is for potentially the 0.1%, right? That could have fell for this. But for the 99.99%, they would have called this post stupid, or they would have just gone away. Because you can see this post, do whatever you want. But when you start telling people that you only think that you do is buy shares and you don't buy merchandise, the only thing I think is that you are short. So they're saying that when you are buying AMC shares, when you are long AMC shares, you are actually shorting AMC shares. Now, there is no data that proves this. There is nothing behind this. This is just their opinion, because by not supporting AMC through their merchandise, so by not helping them increase their revenue, fundamentally, you are shorting AMC. Now, clearly you can see just how stupid that is, because essentially they're saying is that by buying shares, you are shorting shares. By longing shares, you are shorting shares. Now, anyone can understand how stupid that is, right? And this is what they're doing. And once again, the reason for why this is happening is because they're trying to take buy pressure away. We've seen how they've been stealing buy pressure from us. You've seen countless times how they rehypothecate shares to increase the supply so that it doesn't increase the price of AMC. You've seen plenty of times where they route your orders into the dark pool, your buy orders in the dark pool, so that it doesn't have any buy pressure. And now they're trying to make people think that by buying shares, you're shorting. And whether or not, whatever they thought was going to work is clearly not going to be the case, because by buying shares, you are definitely not shorting. It's in the name. When you're long a share, you can't be short a share. And again, I don't want to go, this is stupid, I don't even know how to explain this, but this is just something I saw and I wanted to clear it up and just showcase what these guys are willing to do to make you believe that you shouldn't be buying AMC shares. As always, none of this is ever financial advice, so do take kohrs so much to your own due diligence and research, especially when you see things like this. Because you can see here, how are they trying to steal buy pressure? Buy off exchange. Once again, we're seeing a large percentage of our volume going through off exchange. You can see 63.57. And when you take a look at the volume in comparisons, what you're seeing is 2.2 million into off exchange and 519,000. Now, what's very likely when we take a look at the OBV is that we know that the majority of the volume in a day are actually buy orders of AMC. And so it could be that a large percentage of the 2.2 million are all buy orders, and in that 519,000 that hits the lit exchange, a large majority are actually sell orders. And that's why we're seeing, despite how people are constantly buying AMC shares, now today we did see it actually up 0.64%, but when you consider how many people are buying shares, you know that that clearly is not the case. And you can even see at one point that AMC was obviously down 1.278%. And so this is just a showcase of what they're doing. Another thing to show that they have created an abundant amount of synthetic shares is you can see, haven't seen any brokerage asking for AMC shares since the last squeeze season. So we know that every time it comes close to AMC breaking out, we see how brokerages are asking for your AMC shares and or for your GME shares, and they're willing to be paying a huge premium on your shares. But recently we haven't been seeing these messages. Now, it obviously means a few things. Now, personally, what I believe is actually the case is because they've created so many synthetic shares that there's just an abundance of it. And right now, there is no need to be locating these shares because they've already created hundreds of millions and tens of billions of shares that are out there. Now, does this mean that there will be no squeeze? Of course not, right? But it's just showing that because, and it's actually the very opposite, because they've created so many shares, when we do see the squeeze, it will be going to a massive amount. Another thing that I want to talk about is recently with what's happening with GME. We're seeing how GME is raising more money, and this has got to do with both AMC and GME, and it's in the subject of a buyback because Ryan Cohen pushed Alibaba to buy stock back. He invests Apple, the king of buybacks. GME is now 90% backed by cash and Bitcoin. And so if shorts there fall on the book, Cohen can start buying back the float, turning synthetics into jet fuel. Now, this is something that I think is both powerful, both AMC and GME, and I definitely would like it if AMC were to do the same. Now, obviously, the requirements, the factors are different. GME, because of their share offering, have obviously raised a large amount of money. Now, bear in mind, is that we know that with their business structures, it's not as mature, it's not as good as AMC. This isn't to say that they're a bad company, because obviously they are now, and when you include offering, going to have over $8 billion. Now, AMC on the other hand, they don't have $8 billion, but they have a working business structure that is making them money. And so they're in two different positions. But if we are able to see a buyback of stocks, we're going to be looking at how these short sellers will be in a very, very tight position. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching this video. I'll catch you guys next time.